Good morning, friends. Today we have an extra special visit for you. We have been working on a patio makeover for months, and now that spring is here, we can hardly wait to let patio season begin. There is something about an outdoor space when it's right. It just pulls you outside. Morning coffee tastes better, evenings feel slower. You find yourself lingering just a bit longer, but this patio was not that space. It was cramped, neglected, and felt like something we worked around rather than something we enjoyed. When we first walked out on the patio, the biggest thing we noticed was the rather dilapidated screened-in porch parked right in the middle of the patio. The screens were torn, the doors didn't quite fit, there were cobwebs, leaves, spiders, hornets' nests, and all the things that collect when a space stops being used. Instead of making the patio more enjoyable, it made it feel smaller. At the back of the patio, wrapping around the back of the house, was a tiny fenced-in dog yard, which you could access through the dining room. The previous owners had a small dog, so it was a small space, but the fence was very high. It blocked the view and separated the back porch from the rest of the patio, which contributed to the closed-in, separated off, sort of claustrophobic feeling. But underneath all this, you could tell the bones of the patio were good, and there was lots of potential. So if you have a space like this that is rather neglected and in need of a lot of attention, Matt and I would like to share our patio makeover process to give you ideas of what is possible even with a space that looks anything but promising. Or if you just love a good makeover, then you're in for a treat. As we began assessing this project, we knew it would be mostly elbow grease, and so we tried to think logically on where to start. And it seemed to make good sense that the first step would be to remove the dog yard. Sometimes it just helps to clear away the extra things that are around the project to be able to see more clearly exactly which steps would be the best ones to take next. We officially started this project on January 1st. Yes, New Year's Day. And as a really fun side note, if you will watch the back corner of the yard to the right there, you might just see our chicken coop being built simultaneously, step by step, as we work on the patio. We determined that removing the dog yard would be our first best step in reclaiming the patio when we first moved in summer of last year. So that is why suddenly the trees have leaves, the yard is green, and you hear the serenade of the cicadas. You may also notice Matt's pickup in the back there full of concrete blocks, old pieces of plywood, even telephone poles. There was quite a bit of yard cleanup needed just to be able to mow. Matt and I talked about how interesting it is that different homeowners have different perspectives and needs and preferences for their homes. And I think that because both of us are from Texas and we love wide open spaces and having a good view, might be part of the reason why we just love clearing out, trimming up the trees, and having everything just so free-flowing. I really cannot say how grateful I am to have such a strong, hard-working husband. There is no way I could have done this by myself. Hard work like this calls for a steak and potatoes kind of dinner. Okay, here's the last really good, or shall I say bad, before shot. This is the screened-in porch, parked in the middle of the patio, but now the dog yard is gone off of the back porch, and already the house feels bigger, more open, and more welcoming. As you can see, we've set up a little corner there with the chairs and the grill, and we've already been using it even though it's January. This progress is so exciting, and now we are ready to get the screen porch off of here too. We moved into this new house in the country in June of last year, the first day of summer, 2025. And after looking at it for 7 months and dreaming and visualizing the possibilities and creating inspirational Pinterest boards, and you have no idea how satisfying it was to start ripping this old screened-in porch off. Here are a few of the images from my inspiration boards on Pinterest that kind of give the vibe and the feel that I'm going for. Wicker furniture, light and airy, blue and white and green color scheme. No surprise there. Did I mention that we started this project on New Year's Day? It was cool, but fortunately not freezing cold. While I filmed close-up shots with my phone, we also set up the tripod so that we could do a time-lapse recording. I always find these to be fascinating to watch. You might just spot our little helper here and there. Since our son likes being a part of what we're doing, you may catch glimpses of him from time to time. We're intentional about protecting our family's privacy while still sharing our home projects and the life we're building with you. And interestingly enough, all this work took about an hour and a half. Since the posts and railings used to frame out the screen porch were in good shape, we decided to set as much as we could aside to use for building the chicken coop. Okay, only one end of the screened-in porch is left. This is amazing progress for one day, especially since we've been looking at this for so long. As the framework comes down, the screens are peeled back, all of the broken twinkle lights are torn away. I can just see this space opening up. This patio feels bigger and more spacious than I even pictured. And neither of us counted on the side benefit of gathering so many good posts and 2x4s and bits of wood and pieces that we can reuse for our chicken coop. The screen porch is all gone. Yay! Now it's time to give everything a thorough wash down. This part of every project is always so satisfying, just watching all the grime wash away. If you look in the background toward the right, you can see the frame for the chicken pen already up with some of our reclaimed wood. Just to have the porch clean and clear is such a big step. Look at all that space. Open for possibilities, and much easier to visualize the final result. Since we plan to paint the trim, fascia, and support posts, it is time to assess the wood, and as you can see, there are a few pieces that are rotted and need to be replaced. If you are a homeowner, you know the satisfaction that comes from caring well for your home. Making sure that things are working properly and presentable. Off with the old rotted board and on with a good sturdy new board. Then a fresh coat of paint. Nothing lifts a project like the transformation that comes from a fresh coat of paint. And there's the framing and decking for our chicken coop. It's so exciting to see both projects moving along. Everything looks so fresh and crisp, all newly painted, so much more welcoming. As we learned from the makeover of our previous patio, lighting makes a tremendous difference. For this patio, we're going with the bistro lights again, a little bit larger size than before. There is something whimsical and almost magical about these glowing, twinkly bistro lights at dusk. We've already been enjoying them and have noticed that because there is an even glow of light, they don't really draw bugs. The next thing we want to add to the patio is, of course, flowers. And look at this wonderful collection of pots. Not only did we have the pots we brought with us from our previous home, but there were a number left behind at our new home by the previous owners, and I found a couple of beautiful blue and white chinoiserie planters on Marketplace. As always, when designing a flower pot, I follow a specific formula. I learned this from a British gardener. First, you choose a thriller, and that's the focal point of your pot. For me, it is the pink geranium. Next, you use a filler, and that can be a smaller flower in a complementary color. In this pot, it's these little cheerful daisies. And lastly, you choose a spiller, something to pour over the side, giving the pot dimension and shape. In addition to this formula, I also stick to a fairly tight color palette of pink, purple, white, with little touches of soft, faded yellow. This pretty little chinoiserie planter with the flared sides came from Marketplace for $60. There are 3 of these blue and white pots in our collection now, and I figure if I gather 1 or 2 every year, we will have several in time and have a continuity of design across the patio. It is interesting how you can take the same color palette and sometimes the very same flowers from pot to pot, and they look so different depending on the style of the pot you put them in. Here's my sweet little helper coming with his own shovel to give Mama a hand. You can see the coop in the background is coming along. We've got siding and part of the shingles on. Hands down, this time of year is my absolute favorite, and I'm so grateful to be spending our first spring in our new house in the country. We're arranging our pots in groups of 3 as this is most aesthetically pleasing and balanced to the eye. Now, I would love to put 3 pots at the base of every single post, but they don't all receive good sunlight, so we're going to put some at the opening of the patio from the front of the house, and over the year we would like to collect more pots and put some at the back. That's the fun of these kind of projects. I think it's the doing and the creating that I enjoy even more than having it all done. That being said, I am looking forward to having both the coop and the patio done so we can move on to another project that we have before the baby arrives. From the very beginning of this project, way back in January, I have been hunting for patio furniture on Marketplace, and let me tell you, it is extremely popular, often only listed for 2 hours before it would be sold. I could hardly make arrangements with Matt and his truck for a pickup, but I finally, recently just scored a couple of pieces I'm very excited to share with you. Here are some of the listings on my Marketplace. There were a lot of white wicker pieces, but to me they felt a little too Victorian for our country home. For our patio, I was envisioning a natural wicker in a style that wasn't boxy, up on legs for lightness of style and ease in cleaning, and in good condition. Both of these wicker sets I'm showing you here are ones that got away. If you are looking for wicker furniture for your patio, consider also searching for rattan. This is a gorgeous set that's ready to go. It's just not quite my style, and it's definitely not in my budget. Mostly, I was hoping for a love seat and 2 wicker armchairs with a few side tables. This very unlikely photograph from Marketplace ended up being the love seat that we got. And here are the listing pictures for the side table and armchair that we picked up. In addition to the pieces on Marketplace, the chairs that we brought from our other patio, we also discovered in the pile of junk left by previous owners behind the barn, there were 2 vintage metal chairs. This white one here, and way over there in the corner, you'll see a black one under the pallet. This was a fun find, and these pieces really do fit the style of our home. They just need a little dusting off and a good coat of paint. I don't know about you, but I do try to avoid a shiny finish on almost anything. And if this had been done in a gloss paint, I think it probably would have looked like a giant enameled tooth. So instead, I went with a satin finish in pure white. Since we had two projects running alongside each other, the patio makeover and building the chicken coop, plus the unexpected delays of several weeks of bronchitis, I only painted one chair for this video. The other one will get painted in time. Now let's take a look at our new, to us, patio furniture and see what it looks like all styled up. I'm loving how all of these brown tones mix together. Those dinky little pillows on the love seat need to go, and some large blue and white. To cushion the armchair, I found these gorgeous high-quality blue and white floral stripe pillows on Amazon. Are you ready for the before and after? This is last June. We had moved in, settled in somewhat, and we were able to mow the yard, but there is that creepy falling down screen porch. Now, here we are, the beginning of May, and for the most part, the patio makeover is done. Just in time for alfresco lunch, coffee in the morning, and barbecue cookouts with friends. There is definitely more we could do, and I must say that I still have ideas in mind for DIY projects. So if you still have an itch for that, you might go to our patio playlist and see the transformation of the patio from our previous home. Also, any of the products that I possibly can, I will have linked for you below. The three of us, soon to be four, absolutely love being on the patio. We've already had several guests over. We've shared many dinners out here and Saturday breakfast. With the patio all cleaned up and usable, I must say that it makes me think of flower beds, starting a cottage garden, having an English herb garden near the kitchen door for cooking, raised beds for vegetables, but that is for another time and another season. Now that the patio is done, we can focus our attention more fully on finishing the chicken coop. And I'm excited to share that entire process with you as well. Friends, thank you for joining me today. I would love to know what was your favorite part of this transformation. And until next time, happy spring, happy patio season, and take care.